She got the papers, phone calls and texts nonstop for the last 15 minutes or so. Her sister and mother have phoned me as well, and I have not responded to any of them. I'll come back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, going to go over a story titled, Me, a 33-year-old male, with my wife of 9 years, she cheated and I'm gone. And a big shout out to Joseph for sending me this story. And guys, this story is all about a guy, just like it says in the title, married to his wife for 9 years, and obviously he was with her for many years prior to that, and thought he had a great relationship. Both of them were professionals. They work crazy hours. And long story short, he connected the dots and discovered she was cheating. And instead of like a lot of guys having a breakdown and crying and begging and trying to get her back and counseling and all that BS, oh no. Our guy here handles this like a boss. This guy actually, he gets promoted to the GOAT category. Absolute GOAT here, how he handles her. And I gotta tell you, it's not some crazy extravagant revenge story. It's just handled like an emotionless man, and definitely sticks it to her in the end in terms of just how easily and how he handles the whole thing. And that'll be a very good one here to go over here, guys. Aside from the entertainment factor, that you always, as I say, pay attention to the red flags, because you're going to see in this guy's story here and how he describes the situation, how he started noticing lots of different red flags. Nothing major individually that would cause an issue, but there were a lot of little ones they put all together. And that made him then do some investigating and hiring a PI, and sure enough, that's what he suspected. And like I said here, when it comes to this, guys, life is short. You can't put up with this bullshit. You can't be with someone you don't trust. No trust, no relationship, period, and move on. And you'll see that. So it starts off, he says here, I will try and keep this brief. Well, it's not very brief, but we don't care. It's a good story. Thanks to all of you who have contributed to breakup threads and infidelity threads over the past few months. There have been many evenings when many hours have been spent poring over the advice that is generated from these posts. It has helped me to formulate a plan and then execute it. Here's the short version of the last 7 months. Happily married, no kids, both professionals. They all start the story saying how great our relationship is and happily married. Clearly, someone isn't happy. My job requires a good bit of travel, which is not a big deal since her job forces her to work 80 plus hours a week. That's fucking nuts. I'm all for being on the grind, but I don't work 80 hours a week, for goodness sake. We are both very busy, but her much more than myself. A few things didn't add up last September, so based on the advice on Reddit, the investigating began. It took me a long time to figure out what was going on because she was excellent at covering her tracks. Many are, guys. Around November, all the pieces came together and outside help was brought in to help me get all my ducks in a row. An attorney was hired, and so was a private eye. What I say about PIs are the new growing business. I'm telling you now, as more guys are aware of the things I talk about, keep your eyes peeled. PIs, guys, if you're young and don't know what you want to do in life, think about becoming a PI. In January, everything was confirmed 100% by the PI, and that was all the proof that I needed. After much thought, today is the day that everything ends. I've been planning it since the visual confirmation earlier this year. This guy is obviously known for, like, he suspected things, and then he had confirmation from his PI, and he's known for a long time. He's kept his poker face and planned everything out for his escape. That's unusual. She is being served at her office today at 4 p.m. Based on conversations she's had with me and conversations she's been having with the other guy, there is no way she has any idea that this is coming from me. And that is the best way to go, surprise attack. It will be a shock, but certainly not a surprise. The divorce will be a simple one since we earn about the same amount of money and don't have a whole ton of stuff. Well, that is very nice to hear. The truck is in front of the house and it is now loaded and I'm moving out of state. Holy crap. That is badass. She's getting served at her office, which will be humiliating for her. And also, the U-Haul or the Penske or whatever the hell he chooses is packed up, ready to go. And he is out of there. I love it. It doesn't matter where I live since I'm in sales and my territory is half the United States. Sweet, bro. The furniture that is going with me are the pieces that were given me by my family when we were married. She can have everything else, and she is going to be keeping 3/4 of it anyway. I'm driving the truck myself and can't wait to get to my new condo and start a brand new life. My last 6 months have been pure hell. He has been keeping this deep down inside for 6 months. Good. This is why I said this guy's a goat. Oh my God. Here's a question. I think I already know the answer, but I would love to hear your opinions. Her other guy is a coworker at the law firm. Shocker. He is early 50s with a wife and 3 daughters. Of course he's married, and of course he has children. They don't appear to work in the same department, and he is not her boss. By all appearances, he has a great family and a great life. Do I contact his wife as I'm leaving town? Would you want to know? Am I just being spiteful? Now, that's the end of part 1, and then he's going to have many updates in the final update. But I'm going to quick respond to his question. If it were me, I'd let his wife know, that guy's wife know, because, I mean, he'd want to know, right? I would imagine all you guys would want to know. If you're married and your wife was hooking up with other dudes, you'd want to know. It would hurt, of course, but rather than saying being married, and to be perfectly honest, in terms about being spiteful, he has a reason to stick at that guy. That guy's been sticking his wife. He has a reason to stick it to that guy. And that guy should get have his ass handed to him. And this guy has all the proof from the private investigator. That woman will make out like a bandit. That's just me, though. Now for little updates here. He says she got the papers. The phone calls and texts have been nonstop for the last 15 or so minutes. Can you imagine her getting that and freaking out in her office? Her sister and her mother have phoned me as well. I've not responded to any of them. Good. Do not talk to any of them. I'm sure his lawyer is saying don't talk to her. Don't talk to anybody unless it's absolutely necessary. Also, I'm moving from a large city in the Northeast to Florida. Trying to get to South Carolina tonight and then to my final stop tomorrow. I'm stopping for gas and coffee right now, and I'm really appreciative of all the kind words. This goes to show how much these forums help dudes out around the world. Next update. I'm still on the road, but getting closer to my new home. Last night was very interesting. I did not speak with her or text her. I did speak on the phone with my mother and her sister. My words were very careful and thought out to her sister, as I would expect her to hang up on the phone with me and tell her everything. I would not be talking to her sister or anybody in her family, because even if he got along great with the sister, and she could be playing nice and calm to see if she can get information out of him, something, pretending to be his friend, because ultimately the odds are the loyalty is going to go to her own sister. Talking to my mother was not easy. It was a humiliating situation to discuss with your family. My mom gave me 100% support and is coming to visit me next weekend at my new place. Moms are the best. Well, good for his mom, because some stories the mothers would side with the wife. I will get settled in and update everything in a couple of days. I decided to not contact the boyfriend's wife. I can change my mind down the road, but for now, no contact with her is planned. Looking forward to starting anew. Well, you know what? That's his business. And if that's what it takes, because he's got to get out of there and start his new life, and maybe down the road he lets that woman know, but ultimately it's his choice. But she deserves to know. That's what I think. Now, he had responded to a few questions people had in the comments section, and I think due to the whole Reddit strike that's going on right now, maybe you guys heard about it, certain elements of Reddit are disabled, as well as a lot of comments, but there were comments that he made in response to questions. I'm just going to read those real quick. I figured you guys want to know, and then move on to how this whole thing ends. With regards to a question about his wedding ring, he said, my wedding ring is worth about $100. I probably can't go too far on that. That's like to hear. He didn't spend thousands of dollars on a stupid ring. $100. That's it. He says, with regards to the plan, this was my original plan. I just want to make sure that I was thinking clearly. I will let you know if my phone starts blowing up this afternoon from her. I should be all the way to North Carolina by then. And the last one, he said, in response to another question, I'm sure that she'll rush home after getting this, and when she gets there, she'll find nothing of mine in our home. I was going to leave my wedding ring on the kitchen counter, but decided against that. She deserves everything that's coming her way. You're darn right. I mean, again, imagine her getting served at work. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen somebody served before. I never have, so it'd be entertaining to see. Goes home and finds out a quarter of the furniture is gone. And it would have been funny if he left the wedding ring there, but now for the final update, how this whole thing ends. He says, I got to my new place on Friday evening and got unpacked and settled in on Saturday. It was very strange to be starting over again, but it is the right thing to do. Bro, you're going to be fine. Thank you all for your encouragement and your questions. Here are some answers. There was never a response to me by my soon-to-be ex-wife. Her calls and texts went unanswered, and they eventually stopped yesterday morning. The last one she sent said that she will sign the papers and grant me the divorce. And he says, wow, thanks. I'm kind of amazed that there wasn't more texts and freakouts and stuff like that, which shows she obviously didn't give a shit about this guy. There was some conversation between her sister and myself. We had a brief guarded phone call on Thursday night, and then a long and very helpful follow-up on Saturday. While she wants to protect her sister, she understands exactly why I did what I did and does not blame me for it. After the call, there doesn't seem to be any hostility towards me, and I'm grateful for that. Well, it's nice to hear her sister and him are cool, but still, I wouldn't trust it, because you never know. She could put on a whole act and try to be his buddy and understanding all that, meanwhile providing information to his ex-wife. Until the divorce is through, I would not talk to the sister, trust her any further than I can throw her. Based upon many of your suggestions, the other guy's wife will have to remain in the dark for me. Leaving the situation for me means not staying involved. Now, if she called me up and wanted to know what was going on, I would tell her everything, no hesitation at all. So he decided not to tell the wife of the dude that was porking his wife. That's his business, but something tells me, I have a funny feeling, call me crazy, but because his wife, this guy is telling the story, his wife got busted, I can see the attitude of like, if I'm going down, you're going down. And somehow that guy, her affair partner's wife, will find out, and that way she's not the only one alone. Because that guy obviously is not going to leave his wife and family for her. No way. He says, here's the hard part. How did I catch her? Now, listen to this part. This is going to break down the details. Last summer, there were some subtle changes in her behavior. And each one of these is by itself is no biggie. But as a group, they bothered me. She started drinking more. It went from one drink of wine once a week to nearly every night. There were a couple times where she would lose her cool over little things that tend to happen in life. Blowing up at a waitress, guy in the metro, kid at Chipotle, etc. She was never like that before. There was a night where she yelled at her parents on the phone and hung up on them, which is way out of character for her. She's losing it. She's working 80 plus hours a week, not getting any sleep, porking her coworker, her boss. I mean, even if he's not her direct boss, he's older than her, probably a senior partner, because obviously she's an attorney. She's working 80 plus hours a week at a law firm. And there you go. And she's just losing it. But here's the one that sets this all in motion. At a wedding last fall, one of our college friends was there and recently divorced. The friend was lonely and feeling terrible about herself. My wife suggested that someone should sleep with her to get her confidence back, and that she was all right with it if it was me. What? This guy's at a wedding and his wife's friend is depressed because she's divorced. Oh, you should go sleep with someone to take it off your mind. Oh, you can sleep with my husband. Well, guess what? She wasn't joking. And why is she doing that? Because she's cheating. And this way, if the husband does this, then she's scot-free from any blame. Kind of like when women ask guys for the open relationship or open marriage. And then if the husband agrees, then she's free to go do what she wants, guilt-free, even though she's already doing it. Needless to say, I was stunned and would never do anything like that. That night while lying in bed, the only reason that I could think of was to make her stay, was that she was fooling around and looking for a way to ease her guilt. Exactly. And I was right. It just took me a while to piece together what was going on. No woman that loves her man would ever say such a thing, or want to hook up with other dudes, or offer him up to other women so she could hook up. Never. As stated earlier, the guy is an older man who works for the same firm as her. For a while, they were meeting during the day at different hotels around town. When I was out of town, she was hosting him in our home. What a effing bitch. Right? In their house. They used our guest bedroom, which did not occur to me for almost 6 weeks. After establishing how they communicated, burner phone hidden in her car, and where they were meeting, at our house mostly, it was easy for me to gather all the evidence that would make it easy for me to file papers. I'm so sorry for this guy. I mean, I'm glad he's done with her, but he obviously loved her. And to find that out, you know, thank the Lord they don't have any children. Thank you to the lawyer and private eye. With a PI, you can hear and see everything in graphic detail. There were a lot of tears shed by me when confirmed with a blunt reality what was happening and what was being said about me to him and what was happening in my own home. However, as many of you have pointed out, she's the one in the wrong, and I can hold my head up high knowing what I did was the right thing. Oh well, I hope that answers some questions. So that wraps up the story there. And like I said, he held that inside 6 months, planning his escape, planning his mission. And that's something else. I think he's one of these guys that just went numb. Because a lot of guys just break down, as you're aware, and you couldn't blame him if he did break down, but he handled it right, and you just move on. And clearly she wasn't bothered that much, because after like one day of texting, whoosh, done. And I'm convinced someone like that, she probably wanted to take her boyfriend down too, so he'd be single as well and have him. But voluntarily, the odds are, when you hear these stories about these women that have affairs with married men with kids, and the guy's like, oh, yeah, I'll leave my wife for you, or something like that, but it's always finding an excuse why he can't do it. He's never going to do it. He's just banging the young chick, filling her, selling her a dream. But until the chick decides to sabotage the situation, which frankly he would deserve. But anyhow, I wish this guy the best. And by the way, this story actually, I double checked, is 7 years old. It was sent over to me by a big subscriber, Joseph, who's awesome about sending good quality content. Give a shout out to Joseph in the comment section, guys. But it's relevant for today. People don't change. I could do, in 30 years, if I'm doing it, 30 years from now, and I'm 75 years old, if I'm still on YouTube, that'd be insane. But I could be doing stories then, and people won't be any different. I could work back in time and hear stories from 50 years ago, 100 years ago, same thing. Men do what they did, women do what they do, etc., etc. But anyhow, guys, that'll be a good one here to go over here. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And guys, if you come across a really good story like to share, definitely email it to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Just give me some time to get to it. I will want to get the chance. This goes for crazy stories, or for the other channel, for SSM, sending me your personal story, something that you've overcome or something you're struggling with, a regular question you may have, a good news article about something dealing with men, something like that. And of course, any of the craziest shit you can possibly find, send it my way. And if it's good, I'll definitely cover it on one of the channels. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.